EA Sports.
You're tuned to Radio Big. I'm DJ Atomica, the eyes and ears of SSX for spectators and competitors alike. Broadcasting live from my nifty little sound booth with access to over 262 mountain cams. Some mountain info for those of you out riding today. Reports in from Peak 1's high alpine state that avalanche conditions have moved into the extreme. Riders are requested to use caution when venturing out into the backcountry. Peak 2 is experiencing the beginnings of storm-like conditions. Reports are coming in of strong winds throwing riders around and apparently beating up on some of the trees up there too. Watch yourselves, people. Just got off the phone with Peak 3 Ski Patrol. Sounds a bit dangerous up there. There's been a few sightings of crevices and big ice chunks breaking away. That's never good. You better be prepared. It's taken event organizers 2 years to turn this mountain into the ultimate SSX championship. Riders will be charging hard down these newly designed, never-before-seen racetracks where the terrain borders on the insane. New events like Slopestyle will be pitting riders against a host of constructs where competitors will snake the best lines through the wildest tracks to perform legendary tricks. Go! Without a doubt, abilities will be pushed to the max in the big air events. Riders will be going harder and higher than anything seen before. This year's one-of-a-kind Superpipe events will be like no others. Riders are gonna have to throw it up huge to win these babies. SSX Big Mountain. You gotta love it. Talented Allegra Sauvagesse, Mountain Man Nate Logan, Stylmeister Vigo Rolig, and Boy Wonder Griff Simmons. In addition, a few of the SSX veterans have returned: Amazon bombshell Elise Riggs, hip-hop scenester Mac Fraser, and crowd favorite Zoe Payne, to name a few. Enough talk. Time to ride. Stay tuned right here to Radio Big.
Hey all, welcome to SSX 3. I'm Insetic. With me on this video is Blake Tester.
Hey kids, how's it going?
And Turo.
Hello.
So SSX 3 is the third game in the series, released in 2003 for the main consoles, PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube. There are also some handheld versions, but I've never played those, so this will be covering the console version. We're jumping right into the main career mode of the game, Conquer the Mountain. There's 10 characters, some returning from the previous games and some new characters. As you see, unlike the one in Tricky where they all have unique stats and a board type, now any character starts with no stats and you're trying to get them up to full and everything across your playthrough. So I won't be playing every character for this game like I did before, just picking one and doing a career session with them. So let's pick one of the new characters, Allegra. And yeah, let's get started here on Big Mountain.
This is Radio Big. Just checking the Radio Big cams, and it seems competitors are making their way over to the Green Bay station. If you want to catch some legendary ripping, head over to the event areas. It's going to be hardcore competition or classic free riding, either way. If you want to see your favorite competitor up close, they may just be at the lodge gearing up. Me? Well, I pretty much watch it all no matter what. There are so many ways to ride and play around through this SSX circuit. Event organizers just sent out a text message giving the lowdown on how to advance up the mountain. Do yourself a favor and check it out.
Yeah, so there's a full kind of tutorial, or at least answering a bunch of questions, but I'll be going past that. I feel like I can explain anything you need to, but basically what it showed was, yeah, there's multiple ways to go about this, your playthrough. You can do the events, or you can just free ride, collect the snowflake collectibles, do the big challenges, and make your way up the mountain that way. And so, I'll say I was really excited to get to this, because this is my favorite game in the SSX series. There's great points to make for whether Tricky or 3 is the best game, but for me, it's SSX 3 here.
What's going on with the SSX circuit? How about some tight turns through heavy forests and a track winding its way over, under, and around some of the biggest trees on Peak 1. The track is Snow Jam. The event is racing. Stick around and catch the latest here on Radio Big.
Yeah, and so this first video will be Snow Jam. The first race, probably the first event you'll go to, but again, you could have gone to another path and gone to something else first. It's really, an open mountain, even when you're locked to one peak at the very start. You could still, the instant that opening cutscene ends, you could pause and transport down to, the racetracks down at the bottom of the peak, for instance.
So they let you pick...
Hello?
Hey, yeah. So I was just wondering, they let you pick right at the beginning how you want to approach things, but you said a big open mountain. Is this the game where everything's set on one big mountain, or is that...
Yeah. Event organizers have spent the last 2 years setting up Big Mountain for all of the events. It's obviously not, completely open world in the same way that games of the last decade, Steep or such have done, but that means that everything gets so tightly designed to be able to not only work independently, but work together. We'll be seeing individual races first here, but soon we'll be seeing peak races where you start at one point and you go through multiple tracks, and that's something that the series will continue in the next game, SSX on Tour.
See, that's really cool, I think, because, one of the difficulties a game has with... a lot of games have with open world stuff is that, if everything's supposed to be set in the same sort of area, then everything gets kind of samey, And so I'm wondering how this game does differentiating the different areas. From what I've seen, it's pretty good at it because they've got really strong art direction.
Yeah.
And the other games in the series.
Yeah, it'll basically be... Yeah, you'll see how great SSX 3 pulls it off, and then how SSX on Tour really doesn't pull that exact thing off very well. Oof.
Yeah.
We'll see when we get there, I guess.
So, as you can see, there's a lot of changes between SSX Tricky and this. Tricky had kind of hyper arcadey gameplay and colors, and again, each character, it was really important about what character you picked and what you wanted to do. Whereas here, everything's been sort of more corporatized. I know that sounds like a bad word, but it is the right word to use. The aesthetic of everything was put more in line by EA with the rest of their EA Sports or just EA's other major series. Think like Madden, Burnout, or etc. Kind of how you go about it, and especially the soundtrack. It's not all drum and bass anymore. It's the kind of standard, some electronica, but also some alternative rock, some hip-hop, the kind of standard extreme sports soundtrack at the time.
Yeah.
But you should also try and listen to the audio mixing of that, because that's another incredible thing that they did with this game, where all of the songs can loop perfectly or kind of get some effects put on them if you go into like a cave area or get really high in the air, do something where, yeah, it sounds like the song is sort of following what you're doing.
Yeah, that's one of the great standout features of this game, because it's a lot harder to do that with, like, you know, radio rock songs or hip-hop songs that weren't made for this kind of thing like they had in the previous games, but they pull it off so incredibly well.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Second place.
Yeah, you can finish in the top 3 to advance.
Oh, okay. Well,
I always could. I was just getting first in the previous games every time. But so like I've done for my videos of SSX 1 and Tricky, for each 3-heat race, I'll be doing it like this. Heat 1, I'll show off the main path, not do anything too wild like you just saw. Heat 2, I'll show off some alternate paths and shortcuts. And then Heat 3, I'll take the fastest line with the best shortcuts. Show you what to do to make sure you get first place.
hell yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of which, you have quite the history of this game and with this game in terms of speedrunning, don't you?
Yeah, some history.
You're something of a legend, I've heard.
I guess I'd like to think I am. I've got a really long history with this game, and that's partly why it's my favorite in the series. Again, I was, like on MercuryCity.com back in the day, the SSX site to go to. I'm an admin of the SSX Discord right now, again. And I was, when this game came out, I was like 10 and finally old enough to really be able to engage with it and talk with people on the internet about it. And probably something like part of that is probably why, or is a big factor. And yeah,
I mean, connecting with others is like a major way that games kind of get stuck in our heads,
Yeah. They say like, all the best media, all the best music, movies, etc., whatever, came out when you were 12. I was 10, not 12, but
close enough, yeah.
That's sort of when your tastes are kind of locked in, so what you're interested in
or getting locked in, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I gotta say that there may be people out there playing this game who want to get into speedrunning or have had a passing interest. Is there like a place to get started on that, or?
Yeah, if you join the SSX community Discord with a link in the description, there's really all the other, people who really enjoy the series at this point, and a lot of them are speedrunners as well, more active than me. I was doing my speedruns back, in college when I didn't have work days.
So much shit to do,
a week,
Being alive to do.
Yeah. I mean, those guys do the fastest times, get the highest scores. Oh my god. When we get to like the show-off events and I explain some of this game's other mechanics,
oh my god,
and you see the scores you can get, holy crap. Like, you might have noticed there's like a combo meter that shows up on the top of the screen when I do a trick. I'm gonna save explaining that until show-off when that's really relevant.
Okay.
I'm just pointing that out. Yeah, there's still several major things to point out. What you're probably seeing with the Uber tricks, for example, is that there's 2 kind of tiers of them, where the first tier you've got to fill out Uber, and it's all like 1 foot tricks, not quite up to the craziness that we know, but it's getting there. And then you get to tier 2, where you need to fill out Super then, and that's the ones you know and love. Some return from Tricky, but there's also a lot of new tricks, and they're lower point values than they used to be, but that's because now you can hold Uber tricks, or you can do Uber tricks on rails while grinding. You're supposed to do a lot more rather than wait for the next jump where you have the 3 or so seconds needed to get one done.
God damn.
Yeah.
So this is going to be like the turbo ultra fast run.
Right. Run 3. This is, when you need to get first to get the gold medal, follow this.
Pull out all the stops and then some.
When you said that we would be seeing how, some of the tricks and how you can get the scores that high, Are we still gonna see a bunch of comments? Not a bunch, but comments that say, like, "Oh, you suck at this game, but I still like watching you."
That was Tony Hawk, not SSX.
But will we still see those? Because I imagine we will.
Well, I don't know, people. Leave the comments you want to leave.
Yeah, fair enough.
And don't tell me I sound like Tom Green.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
I've never understood those.
If it makes
why
you feel
is
any
it
better,
more
I don't
than
know
one?
what Tom Green sounds like.
It's okay. You're probably better
So
off not knowing.
To me, you sound nothing like him.
Right.
Because you have a voice.
So to both of you, I guess, what's your experience with SSX 3?
I also grew up with this game. I haven't experienced it as much because I'm younger, but yeah, this was one of the first PS2 games I got, so it's one of the first ever games I got, and I fucking love this game. I was buying a phone. This is totally like almost tangential, but I bought a phone recently, and I wanted to make sure that it could play Dolphin games, so I could play this game wherever I wanted, because that's how important this game is to me. And I have indeed beaten this game entirely on my phone.
Nice.
Wow.
And, yeah.
Nice. My experience with the SSX series generally has been pretty much exclusively through you, and like during college was the majority of my experience with this game, and I still haven't played it really. I mean, played a little bit, but like I'm just not coordinated enough for it. I've at least convinced myself I'm not. Maybe I could actually play it. I don't really know.
All right, but so two things. One, infinite boost is not completely infinite now. You get it for like 30 seconds, but then it runs out, and you need to redo 5 Uber tricks, fill out super to get it again. And two, instead of getting gold, I got a platinum medal. That's
Hell
right.
yeah.
If you not only finish first, but go above and beyond and beat a set race time or a number of points for a track, an event, you get a platinum medal, which gives you more cash than a gold medal would, and will show up on your overall game progression in the lodge. So tracks as well are not built to have both a racing and show-off component. The tracks have been split up to specifically be either race tracks or will be show-off centric tracks.
Did you cut a load screen there?
No.
Wow, it's just like
Wow, really?
Well, because I
actually thought it did.
transported to the same event.
I see.
So here, like I said, along with the race, there's stuff to do in free ride as well. Things to do to really flesh out the courses, like the snowflake collectibles, which will give you cash for finding them, and also these big challenges that I'm just going to show off a few of them here on Snow Jam. Some of them will be, ride down the track and go through all the gates. Some of them will be get a certain amount of points down the track. Some of them will be specific, like a specific kind of set piece thing. But yeah, all of them are there to provide you with another thing to do, and that's great.
Almost sort of like Tony Hawk-esque, Sean Palmer-esque challenges, just kind of added in as a side feature, which is kind of overlooked when you think about it.
I mean, that's pretty baller.
Like, there's 88, like, across the whole game, there's 88 total big challenges.
Well, that's
which
pretty
is
good.
more than I think Tony Hawk 2 had.
That's just a good amount of... I mean, I imagine the big challenges were probably not that hard to make if they're just, like, score challenges or...
They had to... I mean, that gate that he just went through, like, these gates, they're not in the normal, like, races.
I guess that's true,
They're
yeah.
entirely
They
new
did have to
models
make
made.
some new assets, so...
Yeah.
Still, I mean,
Yeah.
reusing the level to give you more gameplay is always a... Well, not always a good thing, but,
Yeah.
When the core gameplay is really good, you don't mind.
Yeah, and again, if you don't want to do those are pretty much optional. You can just go to the events, do well, get medals, and unlock further peaks. What I'm showing here is that every level is broken up into these session points. So in Freeride, you could just teleport around the level. It's not like you have to, get to the bottom and hit a ski lift and go back up to
To go
the top.
all the way back up, yeah.
Right. It's not like some snowboard kid stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to Snowboard Kids. That was a good series. Yeah.
And also another thing is that as like mentioned earlier in the video, that's another way you can progress through and up the mountain. So also in a sense it makes like the races and tricking stuff optional if you're not a fan of those events and you just want to do these side missions. And you can unlock new peaks and new goals within those peaks in that manner. Which, I mean, this game really is all about like one solid thorough playthrough that you can get as much out of as possible.
That's really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, again, since it's an interconnected mountain, we can just ride past the finish line, and we would actually ride down to the next part of Peak 1, at Blue Station and at the bottom there, which next video will actually be going down and seeing the next racetrack, Metro City. But yeah, this is where I'm going to stop here. We're gonna show that off at the start of next video. But yeah, SSX 3, again, my favorite, my personal favorite. There's great arguments for either Tricky or 3, but I'm on the side of 3. So I'm glad for you all to join me and hope you keep watching.